Hey, do I look tired? I hope not, because that concealer claimed to be full coverage. But I am. Yeah. In Poland we start studying in October, so I couldn't find a better topic for a video than unschooling. I have to say from the start, I think it's a stupid idea to teach your kids only what they want. If everyone was unschooled, imagine the percentage of people who know everything about the aerodynamics of a condom filled with water, but nothing about wiping after using the toilet. What a dream world.
So we don't teach our children anything. Everything that they learn is in response to either their interests or their questions.
What a great phrase. We don't teach our children anything. It's like we don't do parenting. If our kids were interested in learning to eat healthy, at what time they need to go to sleep, we would teach them. But for some reason, they don't want it.
We have no curriculum. We have no school hours. We really just respond whenever they want to know something and do our best to make sure they really get it. I was concerned that they would never be interested in things like reading and writing and math.
It's great that your kids are naturally curious about reading and math, but what if they weren't? Let's just imagine your kids find out that reading can be useful only around 13 years old. Don't you think that's a problem? It's not only about the development of a child, but what problems they might have with communication and finding new friends.
My son's 6, and it took some patience and not comparing myself to other moms, but this is his book. Look at this. Lamp, egg, jar, lion. This is him doing this by himself.
Honey, we can see that he's doing it by himself. Do you know that 6-year-old children should be able to write short sentences by this age? And I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with her children, it's just not interesting to her. You can spend 2 minutes googling that reading is not just a skill. It helps to develop language skills and literacy, build empathy, and learn how to handle challenging feelings. And I believe these are important things. And if you don't trust my opinion, there are some adults who were unschooled as children. My parents ruined my life doing this. Ruined it. I have never been able to catch up. I will never be able to live the life I wanted to. But even concerned parents and real stories of unschooled people don't make this creator do research on this topic. No, she doesn't even think about it.
Some people were concerned about how I'm choosing to educate my kids, and I understand what that feels like because I'm also concerned about what the education system is doing for other kids.
Oh great, that phrase actually explains a lot. I really don't know how to react to people who think that the whole system is evil and schools are programming kids to obey or something. Just turn off that TV show about aliens. When I was a child, I believed there was a gnome living in my home. But imagine how crazy that would be if I said I still think so. He's not behind me, right?
I'm concerned that being trained for 40 hours a week to do things that robots can do in the age of AI is just setting kids up for failure.
Well, people are putting too much faith into AI. It can do some certain things, but how is it connected to your own education? AI won't learn languages for you, it won't travel for you, and it won't make money for you. AI is artificial intelligence, not a will do the job for you I suck at Scrabble.
Additionally, I have some concerns about the way the public school system mirrors the prison system, and I don't see it as a good place for socializing because you're not allowed to talk in class, just in like the mess hall and in the yard.
Oh, that's how it's similar to prison. I don't get how you can live to your 30s without understanding that talking in class is not allowed, not because teachers like to dominate or make your kids feel miserable, but because with loud talking you don't give a chance for others to learn, and because it's hard to talk over people. Can you imagine going to theater and talking all the time? And speaking of prison, did you know that it's actually illegal to not put your kids in school? Yes, education is mandatory. So I honestly don't understand how unschooling can be a real thing with some benefits.
The whole interview was about like, you know, the dangers of unschooling, and the person, there was like a homeschooling expert that was like, well, my concern is that they're not going to be civic-minded members of a functioning democracy. First of all, it's dysfunctional, but second of all, that's the whole point.
So the point is to make your kids future outsiders? I'm not talking about any political things right now, but she and other unschooling mothers cut off their kids from all communication with other children and simply don't let them out in the real world. And they may imagine that their children will become not like others, but in reality they'll just have a lot of problems. Also, all unschooling supporters always talk about the love of learning. When you're not being set to a schedule of learning, this ignites a lifelong love of learning. Are there blips? Of course, but you can limit those and let learning never be restricted. Okay, let's imagine this somehow works. Your kid wants to become a surgeon, but they never finish school and don't have diploma. And if they want it, they'll have to spend some time preparing for exams. Who do you think will be more successful in that? A kid who knows how to manage their time, how to learn some difficult terms, and knows part of the material because they learned at school? Or a kid who was unschooled and their mom explained to them what the word surgeon means because that's what she thought they were interested in. But remember, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. is to not pump out more civic-minded members of a functioning democracy.
Okay, if it's all about the choice and doing what you want, not like some society tells us, what about the choice of studying? I have some doubts those moms will be able to give them some knowledge. It doesn't go really far from writing the word egg. And what I can teach you is how to spell the word subscribe. S-U-B... Please like this video and subscribe. I don't want to embarrass myself even more. Has anyone in school a child who organically learned to read, write on their own like a child who naturally teaches themselves how to stand and walk? And at what age did this happen, please? Sometimes I can't believe we all live on the same planet. Let's try to solve this problem with a little imaginary situation. There is a child, and since their birth they live with cats. Will they learn how to move? Yes. Will they learn how to eat? Yes. Will they learn how to read and write? I have some doubts. My child is 8.5, and I recently went to a homeschool event where a reading tutor expressed her disappointment that I missed the window and now my child will struggle. I was under the impression that my child would naturally learn as her desire grew, as with all things in this human life. But would love some anecdotes to support us in this unschooled journey. Thanks. I think before having children, people need to be obligated to get through some tests, like, do you know what parenting is? How do they even imagine that? Like, you see some symbols for 8 years and suddenly on the 9th year you understand everything. Dear unschooling moms, put a picture with Hangul characters over your working table and tell me when you're going to understand Korean. But maybe there are some more important things than being literate.
Day one of unschooling, and I've got my kids helping me to clean the car out, teaching them hard work, taking care of the things that you love, that you need, and also just needed the car clean.
The coolest technique of unschooling is that you can teach your kids something valuable when you need it. Your children are not interested in math and washing the dishes. And you don't mind it, but whenever the dishes are dirty, you'll teach them the value of hard work. And math, I don't have time for that. Of course, I'm exaggerating a bit. Unschooling is not only about doing nothing and making your kids clean for you. Remember, in the first place, unschooling is teaching your kids only valuable and important things.
So we're gonna get a whole pineapple because if we get a cut one, it's more expensive. It's cheaper to just get one yourself and cut it.
Honestly, I didn't even understand if she was talking with a camera or her kids. Is she sure she teaches them and not just filming it for a video?
Make sure that you open them, make sure they're not broken. All good. Right, so when you're reading the labels, I want you to notice where it says includes added sugars. How many does that say? 0 on that one and 15 on, so we don't want sugars, right?
What I love about the last video fragment is how she didn't even wait for an answer from her kids. Something tells me that before searching for a phrase no sugars added, you need to learn how to read it. You don't need to be a genius to eventually get this idea. How a child could compare numbers without knowing them.
And the whole point of this is that I have so much more time with them to teach them things like this that's gonna actually help them in life.
I don't know at what level of education her kids are right now, but if I talk about the kids of the previous creator, a big part of these valuable lessons that every parent does besides school, so a big part of them would be just useless. How kids can learn to save money without understanding the concept of money, without knowing how to count. Less or more is math too. Not every mom who unschools their kids just does nothing, but this whole concept seems like a perfect place for those parents who just don't care. What do you do when unschooling doesn't work? And by doesn't work, I mean like a 12-year-old who can't read. Well, he can read a little, but not enough to be able to properly function as an adult. And he has no desire to practice or improve. Oh, so unschooling suddenly doesn't work? I wonder why. I thought unschooling is everything about love to learn. Maybe when they're small, it's easy to say they'll have time to learn to read, to count. But when they grow up and have zero skills, you start to question your choices. Bad luck, there is no way of going back in time. By read a little, I mean maybe a first grade level. Like if I have him read something to me, I have to help him with about every fourth word. His comprehension is not there. And what I mean by not being a properly functioning adult, mean for example, he would not even be able to fill out a job application. I'm just really worried about it, naturally. And I'm curious what other WLU parents have done or would do in this circumstance. Naturally, you should have spent some time 7 years ago educating your kids. I don't know if you feel the same irritation when those parents ask for advice. Because the advice is to make your kids go to school. This post sounds for me something like, "Hi, I was making my kid dumb and it worked. What should I do?" And some of those moms, instead of teaching their kids some basic skills and basic knowledge, start straight from business coaching. Well, you know, it's like rocket science. Before learning physics, you build a rocket and try to fly in space. And then after a month in hospital, you actually learn physics. Motivation is the best teacher.
How are you actually unschooling your kids? All they do is watch you work all day.
I am obsessed with this question, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to clarify. Now, yes, do our kids get to watch us work? Sometimes, if they're interested in it. My son solved a really complicated newsletter problem for us the other day when he was overhearing one of our business meetings.
I wonder how a 6-year-old who can't write the word egg solved a newsletter problem. Now I'm curious what their business is about. I think we need to read the caption for that, especially the last part that says, if you want to learn more about our road to familiarity, watch our video, How Sex Magic Almost Destroyed Our Marriage on YouTube. What the hell did I just read? I guess her kids don't need to go to college, their mom will just cast some sex spells for whatever reason. And that was the start of me noticing the hidden topic of this TikTok account, the ravings of a madman.
How did Kim Kardashian use occult magic to create a $4 billion brand?
Yes, I'm surprised you didn't know that. Now imagine her son not knowing the alphabet but knowing all the most popular conspiracy theories. Sounds like a very weird social experiment.
So a lot of times when you're studying magic, you're going to be stuck in one lineage, and actually when it comes to objective creation, you need a little bit of white magic, a little bit of black magic, and a little bit of red magic.
What I've heard, when you're studying magic, you'll be stuck in and so mix white with black and red. Like, do people believe in anything now without any explanation or proof? Also off the topic, but very important. Why don't we write the word magic with the letter J? That would be awesome, like this word was created for J. Magic. Anyways, I hope everything we saw says a lot about unschooling and what kind of people usually choose it to educate their kids. Sorry, no university for you, but I'll teach you how to cast manual breathing. I think this video can't be complete without an opinion of actual unschooled people and what problems they've experienced throughout their life. My hippie mama unschooling me so I can study about what I'm passionate about and not the other stuff. 5th grade me realizing by her rules I don't have to do anything and dropping out before learning to read. And that's what this creator says about this situation. Is this not a low-key abuse? It is. No child can just know of their own head what to do, why education is important, and how to do it on their own. Children need aid. People who live through unschooling don't find this experience great in a lot of ways, starting with basic skills like this creator, and ending with huge communication problems, as unschooled kids usually spend their time at home and alone. They spend their time without getting socialized like all other kids do in school.
As someone that was homeschooled, borderline unschooled, I cannot tell you how difficult life was to adjust to once I did join society. I had a really hard time with the general education classes and had to get tutors for almost every single class except for reading and comprehension, thank God. Oh, it was horrible. It was awful. It was so traumatic as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old.
With every video I do about parenting, I understand how little we learn about being a parent. Maybe that's why some mothers believe that reading will come naturally like parenting did. No, this is a skill too. We need to get more education about child development. People really don't understand the importance of communication and education. I just wish more parents would understand that some of their choices will go through the whole life of their children. So spending 2 hours researching the value of education is not that hard. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm a small creator and it is really important for me. Bye!